Lure choices are always a matter of where fish are holding, given basic habitat options. Most habitats offer distinct edges, which often key where fish hold and help to determine how fish respond to chosen lures. Here's more on how the interaction between fish and anglers should transpire when anglers know how to work edges correctly.
North Country Lake here, and this is one of these really classic periods during the year. Put this guy back quick. You know, the bass are just probably about 2 weeks. We're in June, North Country here, Minnesota. So the bass are off the spawn by 2, almost 3 weeks. Water temperature is climbing. Everything in the system is blooming. It's kind of a perfect storm of events. The bass are hungry and feeding. And in a classic day like this, and it differs a little bit whether you've got a dingy lake or whether you've got a moderate clear lake or ultra clear lake, and this is kind of a clear lake right here. And what also is developing is all of the edges in the lake, the weed edges in this case, are going to be thick and developing and becoming lush in the next week, 2 weeks. So the bass have moved offshore for the most part. They're out on the ends of some of these structures, not pushed up against the shoreline anymore. They're on these classic structures, and during a dark day, we've got a dark start to the day, those fish rise up out of those weed beds and push up on the flats. And so that's why I'm using long distance cast lure, lipless seeker, Sabile bait right here. Got a big broad head on it, pushes a lot of water. See the BB's in there right there, makes a lot of noise. So that's a great search lure. And then eventually when the sun comes up, the light level gets up, these fish in classic pattern tuck down into the weeds. A lot of them move to the edge, and then you can catch them on some other baits we're going to talk about as we go along too. Oh, they're all really nice average fish, just no giants yet. There. It's such an awesome bait, and there's a lot of subtleties to using it. Not the least of which is actually switching out to the hooks. Long story. Nice average fish, aren't they? And it is getting completely timed now. Let's see if some fish are along the edge now. They may not be packed up there, but there should be some fish on the edge by now. There we are. So no surprise that as the sun hasn't actually come out yet, but it's really brightened up, that at least some of the fish have moved to the edge. So we've gone to the jigs, and that's what we should talk about now. You know, the classic option on an edge like that is a weedless rubber-legged jig like that. I've got 2 styles of legs that I like to fish most of the time. The little flappy guys like the Havoc Pit Boss, which is one of my all-time favorites, and then this is the Chigger Craw right here, 2 big flappers. So different kind of visual picture and a different kind of vibration track given off with each one of those. So what you're looking for in any edge is not monotony, but change. So a point can be good. An inside pocket can be good. A place where the weeds abruptly stop can be good. A different kind of weed butting up against another weed. So like coontail against a big patch of cabbage, you know, that can be dynamite. We used to have to go down edges and feel for ourselves what was going on a lot of times. And the real time saver now is the GPS with the side view and the down view. So the Garmin GPS map, this is an 840 right here. You go down the edge, you can see pockets, you can see turns, you throw in a waypoint and away you go. So real time saver right there, but of course you still got to go fishing. He's a wild one. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And a big fish, man, whoa. Brutus indeed. Get that out of there. And I had gone to that lighter jig head there with the little flappers, the Pit Boss. Look at the size of that fish. And spawned out, you can see tail starting to recuperate, and that's the whole deal right now. These fish are out here gonna be porking it on for the next 2-3 weeks, maybe the entire summer. What a horse, what a good one that is. 4.5, nice. So there's what I just caught that fish on. The lighter jig head and the Pit Boss body right there. And those are the little tiny flappers there. It gives off a nice light vibration. The classic Chigger Craws right here, the power bait Chigger Craws. You've got a 3-incher, which is a standard winter bait. Use on Lake Fork a lot when I'm down there during the winter time. The 4-incher is what I'm using today. the big flappers right here, and that's the classic bait all around. But in the summertime and in dark water in particular, I often go to this 5-inch giant jigger craw. Not only is it a different visual picture, 2 different styles of jig heads, but you've got the little flapper bodies giving off different kinds of vibration. Nice one. Nice. Hey, that's the other thing about fishing the jig on the edges. A lot of times that's when you get the big bite. This is no giant, but it's really nice. Look at that. Beautiful, huh? Awesome coming out of the water like that. And we are on, right now, a hot bite. Those fish have moved to the edge, they're feeding heavily, and that's the other thing about this period. This is really a perfect storm of conditions coming together. Prime time bass fishing in the North Country for sure. Bait options, hey, you gotta have something to search with early on in the morning. And once those fish push to the edge, you gotta go to the rubber-legged jigs and the trailers that we talked about. Hey, perfect storm of activity in many instances if you get this timing right.